Okay, hello. So women are natural born leaders. We are leaders within our family. We are leaders within our work space. We are leaders in our community. And a lot of us, I feel, believe that this has to be a leader. It has to come from a very masculine place. It has to come from a place of control or force or hustle. So we're in this kind of mode where we're doing, and there's no or very little rest and recuperation in there. It's this continual striving. So if you watch my video yesterday, I was talking about this kind of ego-driven desire to achieve, as opposed to listening to the soul's desire, which wants to create and be nature and more kind of holistic, natural processes. That's my soul's desire anyway. So talking about women in leadership roles, most of us are leaders. We lead our children, we lead in the community, we lead in the workplace. But as I say, we lead from a place of struggle and force, and that can become very overwhelming, and a lot of the time will lead to burnout, especially when you start to come into your perimenopausal years. So you're reaching like your 40s and you've been hustling for 20 years, and you realize that you can no longer force things, you can no longer push things, you can no longer control things. Things are starting to be less controllable. And so we want to tune into that, the letting go of the control, the letting go of the force, letting go of the struggle, letting go of the hustle, because it's not sustainable. It can get you to a certain place, but it's not sustainable in the long run. And it's very distorted, wounded, masculine energy, and that is basically our society. But as you probably know, things are changing. Things have to change, because we cannot continue the way that we are going, because we are using all of our resources. So if you look externally, we're using up all of our resources, and if you look internally, we are doing the same. As within, so without. So anything that is happening internally is a reflection. You can see that reflection out in the external. So take a look at what you're seeing in your external reality and tune inwards. Can you recognize that within yourself? So how can we get out of this hustle, control, force mentality? One of them is by simply being, and I say simply, but it can be very challenging, but spending a few minutes every day just being with yourself, being in a space that soothes you, having no agenda, there's no plan, allowing yourself to go with the flow of whatever calls you. And if you watch yesterday's video, you can, a great way to start that is to find space, find physical space, find mental space. And when you then come from that place of spaciousness, of stillness, then you can hear that soul's desire, that soul calling, speaking to you. And it's very subtle, and it's also very quick. So you have to practice mindfulness and you have to practice being the observer of this inner desire. So find the space and then be. Simply be. It's going to be challenging to start with. So start really small. Start with a minute a day. Being with yourself, that can be deeply uncomfortable to start with. But the more you do this, the more you start to see the beauty in the being and the beauty within yourself. And there'll be less need to force, to struggle, to hustle, to control. Maybe another one is to look at where you are trying to control, and can you find a way to step back and release the reins. Maybe you can't release them completely. Maybe you can see if you can let go just a little bit. Can you ask for help with something? Can you delegate something? Can you just let that, whatever it is, go? It's not necessary. So having a look in your life of where you can release that control and start to be in the moment and start coming from that place and seeing what shifts actually happen.